It's the move we all saw coming. It's the move we all knew was going to happen. The stars were aligning, reports were coming out. And if you're a Sooner fan in Norman, Oklahoma right now, you have to just be smiling ear to ear with this news. You went into the casino absolutely broke, and you just walked out with a duffel bag of cash on each shoulder. To head into the offseason with Jackson Arnold and come out of it with John Mateer is probably as big a quarterback upgrade as you could possibly make in one offseason. You went from a good runner of the football to an elite runner of the football. You went from a guy that fumbles more than a 1970s wishbone offense to a guy that specializes in taking care of the football. With this pickup of John Mateer from Washington State, what you're getting is a guy that's going to elevate everyone around him. That includes the head coach. And look, in my opinion, do I consider Venables to be a great head coach? I absolutely do not. But when you have a guy like John Mateer and you're building the pieces around him, you're building the scheme around him, you bring in Arbuckle, his former OC from Washington State, and man, anything is possible with this football team. We've seen it before when guys like Clay Helton get a quarterback like Sam Darnold, when a coach like Tom Herman gets Sam Ehlinger. Mediocre or bad coaches can go on extraordinary runs when they have the right guy pulling the trigger. And John Mateer can absolutely be that for Oklahoma. This pairing of Arbuckle and Mateer is going to go in the SEC, and they're not going to be afraid of any opponent that lines up against them. You're going to go into the 2025 season and have the quarterback advantage in virtually every game you're going to play. Arch Manning with Texas is going to be interesting. You have Sellers at South Carolina. I think John Mateer is already much better than Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee. Who knows what's going to be happening with the Alabama quarterback situation? And I'm very high on Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. But man, John Mateer is a different animal when you put his entire skill set together. He affects the game in so many different ways. He affects the way you prepare. When John Mateer is your quarterback for Oklahoma, every single play is going to be 11 on 11. He's going to have to be accounted for as a runner every single snap. And what is that going to do? It's going to free up everything for your wideouts and for your backs. It's going to terrify teams to play man coverage against you. The last thing you want to do against Mateer is have all your DBs with their back turned to him. And guess what? When that defense is sitting back in zone, John's both smart and accurate enough to pick apart that defense. So at the very least, Oklahoma's going to go into these SEC games without having one of their arms tied behind their back the entire game. Because it might sound harsh, but that is what happened this last year with the Sooner offense. When you're 110th in points per game, 127th in yards per game, 107th in points per play, and 131st in yards per play. I mean, let's just be honest, that's pretty fucking tragic. So insert the OC Arbuckle, insert the QB Mateer. There's obviously going to be other pieces put around him. So if you can creep up into the 70s or the 60s in those stats, that's easily 3 to 4 more wins. And we're having an entirely different conversation about this Oklahoma Sooner team.